So let's now just carry on building out this. So we want to now add in maybe our top team. We want to showcase who our top team are. Maybe we just want to showcase our top 3. You could, of course, do this with your whole team. It's completely up to you. But I'm just going to use a top 3 team here. So I'm going to come away and just add in a new container. I'm going to go with vertical this time. And then I'm going to drag in a contain. Oh, actually, no, to be fair, I'm going to drag in a heading first. In fact, I'm not even going to do that. I'll tell you why in just a second. I'm going to drag in a container. And then within this container, we're going to change the direction to horizontal. And then we'll also do space between, and then we're also going to align that into the center. And inside of this container, let's produce another 3 containers. I'm going to just duplicate that another 2 times so that it looks like that. So the reason I didn't drag in a heading or a subheading is because I'm just going to duplicate these. So I'm just going to duplicate this one, and then I'm going to drag that down into the container there. Like this, and I'm going to do exactly the same with our heading. So I'm going to select that, drag that down underneath our approach. So that is okay. So this time what I am thinking, or in fact this top level container, the one is now going to contain the team. Let's come along and just make this align items center so that it's all centered like this, and then we can just edit the content of this. So our approach this time is not going to be our approach, will be maybe our expert team or our team of experts. And then we can change the get to know us better to meet the top flight. Meet the top flight team. That will do, why not? Okay, so let's now just come along to style this. So I'm going to come to style, typography. I'm just going to make this capitalize, so transform and capitalize so that it looks like that. That is okay, still at 2.2. I'm also going to just add some extra negative margin to the top there. So maybe something like that is okay. And then our team of experts. Why does that look like that's got more? Oh, it doesn't look like it has more default padding. That's fine. So now we've got our team of experts meet the top flight team or meet our top flight team. That is fine. I'm happy with that. And now we can start building out these new cards that we're going to work with. So what I'm thinking here, we're going to work with a team member, which is actually a essential add-ons. So let's look for team member. Again, I mean, there are going to be more features that will open up to us if we wanted to pay for the pro version, but we can do this with the free version for now. So let's just get this styled. So what we can do now is we can use some images for the team members that we have, and attached as a resource to this lesson are these 3 images that we can do. So go ahead and drag those in. We're going to go ahead and use Mr. Green over here as the first one. So I'm going to select that. And now we can come along and just edit the rest of the content. So let's leave him as John Doe. Let's say that he is a senior software engineer. Why not? Let's give him some seniority. Let's remove the description there. So it's just got his name and position. John Doe. You see John Doe everywhere, don't you? This guy is going to be called Ryan Doe. So social profiles, you can select whichever social profiles you want. I'm going to remove the Google Plus and just leave it as the Facebook, Twitter and LinkedIn. So that is looking good so far. Let's come along to style and start making this this design really come to life. So at the minute he looks rubbish. There is nothing pretty about this card that we've just created. So let's carry on building him out now. So I'm going to change the style preset here to an overlay style. So straight away that information is hidden and it appears on hover. So that is already a lot better. I much prefer that. So now we can come along and edit the rest of it. So the content card, I'm going to change that overlay color to maybe black so that it looks a bit more like that. That is already looking a lot better. We can see we've got this padding around the outside. So we can actually remove that by, I'm going to center align that as well whilst we're here. The content padding here, let's just maybe add some content padding. See if that removes it. It doesn't. Nope, so it's not that one. It's one of these somewhere, maybe under the image style. So if we select the image style here, and then under the padding here, let's go ahead and just add 15. We can see that was the one. So I think it's looking like it's 10. And we can see now that that overlay sits perfectly over the image. So that is a lot better. So he's getting there. What I do also want to do is we need to move this whole text down. So I want it in the center. So let's come down to the color and typography. No, sorry, it is still under the image, or maybe even under the member styles here. So let's actually come along and change this content padding to %. Uncheck the link values, and then at the top, let's maybe try 40%. That is looking pretty centered. 45. Yeah, 40 or 45, maybe somewhere in the middle. 42. Looks like that is right in the center there. So that is looking okay. Now we can start editing the colors and typographies. So the member name, let's maybe change that to white. And the typography maybe to primary. So it looks like that. We can obviously make that now a smaller size. So maybe a 1.4, maybe even a 1. So it looks nice and neat. Let's change that to uppercase, so it's all uppercase. So we have Ryan Doe there, the senior software engineer. In fact, I'm going to leave that as capitalized. No, actually, I do prefer it uppercase. I'm going to leave that uppercase, so that is looking okay, Ryan Doe. And then we can come down to his position. So I'm going to change that to also white. I'm going to change that typography to accent. So it looks like that. And then we can come along and tweak the actual color, the actual design styling of this. So maybe a 1. So maybe a 0.8. So that is okay with a 0.8, even a 0.7 there for that one. No, I will keep it, 0.7. I'm happy with that. And then I'm going to add maybe some letter space in there so that it is spread out a little bit. Something like that, I think looks good. Ryan Doe, senior software engineer. And now we can come down to the social profile styling. So now let's take a look. Let's make them icon sizes maybe 15 pixels. Nice and small. That looks a lot better. Or even 20, not 120. So 20 looks good. So now let's come along to our social profiles margin. So let's maybe give these some margin on the top so that we bring it down. And then maybe we could add a border around each of these. So social icon distance. So let's now actually add some on the left and right here. So maybe 10 on the right and 10 on the left. It's going to move them apart. Could even make that 15 and 15. That is looking better. And then we've got the icon color. So let's maybe go and make that white as well. And then the background color. Oh, let's give it a border first. So a border solid. And then we can give that a width of 1. And then the color of that border, we can maybe make, shall we go with a primary? That looks quite cool with a primary pink. That is okay. Let's give that a border radius of maybe 50. Of course, we need to actually give it some padding first, don't we? So if we come to the social padding up here, maybe if we increase that, we can see that that is slowly making that rounder. Let's uncheck that. We can see it's quite fiddly, this. So I'm going to make that on the top and bottom 10 and 10. So we're almost there. So that's going to be 0 and 0. And it looks something like that. I still think we need some padding on the bottom there because it doesn't look right, does it? Anyway, we could play around with this all day, but I do think that that looks pretty neat like that. So each time we hover over Mr. Ryan Doe there, we see this looking like that. So I'm happy with that. Now, of course, you want to edit the hover styles as well. So we could just change that hover style to maybe all primary. So as we hover over, or we could make it purple. Anyway, however you wanted it. And then all we need to do is just go ahead and duplicate that. So let's now just duplicate the whole container that's in and duplicate it again. Let's do the same thing, delete the other two. So it looks like this. And now all we need to do is edit these images and content. So I'm going to quickly do that now. So I'm going to change this one maybe to Miss Orange over there. Let's change her name to Joanna Pauline. Don't know where these names sometimes come from, but yeah, we got a Joanna Pauline over there now. Now we have a senior web design lead. Something like that. So that is Joanna taken care of. Now let's do the last one. We can change this to Miss Blue. Let's give her a name of Miss Blue. Why not? So we got Miss... Oh no, that's a position. So name of Miss Blue, job position. She can be the creative genius. Why not? So that is pretty much our top flight team taken care of. So I'm just going to add some padding to the top and bottom. We could again just give it a minimum height if you wanted to. In fact, let's just give this one a minimum height. Let's give that a minimum height of maybe 800 or maybe 820. And then the top parent container, let's just justify content into the center so that it sits in the center there. So that is looking good. I am happy with that. Now, as we hover over our team members, we can see who our team members are. So things are starting to take shape on this page. We might want to just add in another contact us, another call to action for these guys for our visitors to contact us. But for now, this is looking good, and I'll see you all in the next lesson.